Film director Olivia Wilde has a new movie out, which she says is based on you, this insane man, this pseudo-intellectual hero to the incel community. Incel being these weirdo loner men who are despicable in many ways. Is that you? Are you the intellectual hero to these people?
Sure. Why not? People have been after me for a long time because I've been speaking to disaffected young men. Now, what a terrible thing to do that is. Thought the marginalized were supposed to have a voice.
It's making you emotional talking about that.
Well, God, it's very difficult to understand how demoralized people are. And certainly many young men are in that category. And you get these casual insults, they don't know how to make themselves attractive to women who are very picky, and good for them. Demand high standards from your men, fair enough. But all these men who are alienated, it's like they're lonesome and they don't know what to do, and everyone piles abuse on them.
Hey ladies, welcome back. As you come in, please hit that subscribe button and let's talk about this emotionally unintelligent male epidemic. Y'all may know it better as the male loneliness epidemic. That's more commonly used. That is what everybody keeps talking about, what we're hearing about. That's like the more dumbed down term for it. Because a lot of men are very, very lonely now. A lot of women are filing for divorce. A lot of men are taking themselves out of here because they can't get women. They're going red pill. They're going like just totally to the far right side of things. They're becoming conservative and they're going to more extreme measures to try to get women to be with them. We're seeing men like Scott Galloway and Jordan Peterson like trying to teach men how to be better and to be more emotional in order to attract the women that they want, while at the same time we see Jordan Peterson like breaking down in tears all over the place, because although he's trying to help men, he's also sad because he knows what the issue is, when most men don't know what the real issue is, because they're not as intelligent as Jordan Peterson. He's intelligent, but he knows that he can't really help men because he knows the mind of men. He knows the mind of most of these men, and he knows that they're not going to do what it takes, that they can't do what it takes to be helped. And he knows that most of them are going to be eliminated. And he knows that women are evolving and waking up rapidly, too rapidly for these men to catch on, to evolve. Women are evolving. Evolution is taking place quickly. So they're going to be either taken out by the process of women not choosing to mate with them and procreate with them. That's why you see the government making all these laws, trying to force women to marry them and procreate with them, trying to force people back into the nuclear family. If y'all are new here, go back. I've made videos about this. I haven't been on here in a couple of months making videos. I just started making videos again this past week, but I have made a few videos about this. That is why they're stopping women from getting abortions. That is why they're like trying to stop these videos from getting out. That is why they're changing all kind of stuff. They're trying to push women to have kids. The government has tried to pay women $5,000 to have a baby, when we know it costs like $500,000 just to have a baby. In some of these hospitals, they're trying to make it just really hard for women to get help with these kids. They're trying to make it hard for women to afford daycare if they're single. They're trying to make it to where women will need a man to have a baby. I'm trying to make it hard for single women to have babies. They're trying to force you to have to be in a relationship with a man for you to be able to survive and have a baby. So they're trying to make it to where the men will have all the power, they'll make all the money, and you'll have to depend on the man financially. So, but they're not listening to women when the women are saying these men are not emotionally intelligent. The men do not know how to communicate with us. They're violent. They're not listening to us. They don't know how to read emotions. They don't know how to listen to us. They're harming us. They're neglecting us. It's not enough for them to just go to work and come home and pay the bills. We feel alone in these marriages. They're not helping us in the house. They're not cleaning up. They're not helping us with the kids. They're not doing homework. They're not cleaning. Women are out here making videos and trying to talk to the men about what they need in these relationships, and they don't care. They don't care. All they want is sex and to work and to play their video games. And they want to be able to cheat, and they want you to shut up, and they're not listening. So let's get into some of these videos about what the women are saying about why these relationships are not working and why women are getting divorced and why these men will continue to be lonely. Because they're not listening to women and they're not evolving like mentally and emotionally. They're going to continue to be lonely. And I'll be back after this.
Past couple years, it's been like, oh, watch out for the narcissistic men. They out here running loose. They out here running rapid in these streets. And while that may be true, I am starting to believe that the men who lack emotional intelligence are just a little bit scarier. Just a little bit. And it's so crazy because men will come off as if they're emotionally mature because they will sit and listen to you. They will sit with you while you're talking about your feelings. They may even express some form of their feelings, but that is not a clear indication of having emotional maturity. I saw a post on here that said something about like, basically if a man cannot manage his own emotions, what makes you think that he has the ability to manage yours? And a lot of times, men do not have the ability, not everyone, but most of them do not have the ability to manage their own emotions. And so what do? This is when they gaslight you, and this is when they manipulate you. And the emotionally unintelligent men, the ones who lack emotional competence, they will make you think that you are crazy. And we can say they are right alongside with the narcissist, whatever. But they will make you think that you're crazy. Within like the past couple months, I have had 2 different men basically tell me I was disrupting their peace because I was expressing how I felt. I wasn't spazzing, I wasn't yelling, I wasn't cursing. It was along the lines of, hey, when you did this, this is how it made me feel. When you said that, this is how it made me feel, and this is why I reacted in this way. Expression, being emotionally mature, communicating my feelings. Oh, you're not about to disturb my peace. And so at first, they almost got me because I was just like, when did me expressing myself all of a sudden become a disturbing of somebody's peace? When did me expressing how I feel in a calm and healthy way relates to just being toxic or just being, I don't know, all over the place? And then I had to snap back into reality, and it's like, no, you're not about to manipulate me. You just don't want to deal with my emotions. You don't want to sit up here and face the accountability of how your actions and your behavior made me feel. Like, absolutely not. So to me, I'm just kind of like, the narcissistic men on top of the emotionally incompetent men, I can't cut the tape. Like, I don't know, send me somewhere else because Earth is not it. Earth is giving real ghetto because it's just like, you're not about to make me believe that I'm crazy, that enough to think that me expressing myself is a problem and that all of a sudden I'm a peace disturber. Nah, y'all
Any
can have it.
man who avoids his feelings will neglect yours. It's as simple as that. He'll neglect yours. If you think that he is incapable of internalizing and understanding and comprehending what's happening in his mind, honey, he's not going to understand you. He's not going to want to understand you. He doesn't care for that. He needs to unlearn and deprogram all of his stuff first before he's emotionally ready to take part in a two-way dynamic, which is a healthy relationship. You don't want a guy who comes to you who is unresolved. You want someone who comes correct. You want someone who knows who they are, knows what they want in a relationship, because what they ask for themselves, they will ask of you.
Let me tell you something right now. A man that is not emotionally intelligent will never understand how his actions could have hurt you. He will always think that, well, it wasn't that bad. And he will also think that because it wasn't his intention that you'll be okay. You will never get that man to see the effects of what he did to you. So you have to do one of 2 things. Accept the fact that he'll never really understand it. He'll never really get it. So there's a possibility he's going to do it multiple times, or you could choose to walk away. Because what ends up happening is you have this constant conversation of what that person did and how their actions affected you negatively. And in their mind, they can't be seen as the perpetrator. Oh, that's not me. They can never say, you know what, even though that wasn't my intention, I understand that I hurt you. And here's what I'm going to do to make sure that I never do that again. They can't do that. In their mind, it's always like, well, of course you should take me back. Of course we should be able to move on and we should be able to live happily ever after, because that's not me. God knows my heart. God knows exactly who I am. It could not have been that bad. And you will forever be in a cycle, and you'll never get the validation that you need, and you'll never feel comfortable with that man, and you'll never trust that man to be able to take care of you going forward. You know why? Because to this day, 10 years later, he will never see that his actions were actually that bad, actually that negative. So babe, it's going to hurt, because you're never going to get the validation that you need and that comfort and that reassurance. And both of y'all going to be going back and forth. So I would say just leave. Because you'll probably be wasting your time. Because men like that need therapy. And a lot of men like that, they're not going. They're not going to therapy because, once again, I could never do anything like that. They have the savior complex, and it's their ego as well. Like, how dare you tell me I hurt you? I don't do those things. No, you do, babes.
This might be a hot take, but all of the hot, successful, really driven women are in their single girl era right now. And I think that's because it's almost impossible to find a man who matches your energy, let alone bring something to the table that you don't have. And we are all looking for partners that add something to our lives, and like, we can't find someone who is better than us. I'm not even trying to sound conceited. Like, there are so many hot, successful ladies right now. Like, we are going off. And the men just can't keep up. So, like, am I going insane, or is this true? Like, let me know what you think.
I don't want to listen to this.
Men who don't learn emotional intelligence cause endless suffering to their woman. They make her feel used, unseen, and lonely. When she expresses her emotions, all she wants to know is that he can listen, validate what she's feeling, and he cares enough to respond lovingly. But all he knows is logic, so he sees her emotions as a problem to be fixed, looks for a solution, becomes offended when she doesn't want that, and then gets defensive and self-absorbed.
Men need to learn how to listen. It's been a long time thing. All you have to do is sit there and match their emotions. If they're sad, be sad with them. If they're happy, be happy with them. If they want help, they will ask for help.
He's basically telling men to mirror your emotions, which is toxic. He's telling them to be robots and to just do what you do, which is mean, like, it's saying that they don't have their own emotions, or like they can't show empathy without like just mirroring what you're doing, which means that they're like literal bots that have to be programmed to do what they're supposed to do. Like he's pretty much saying they're not human. Like, that's what I got out of this. Like, just do what she does. If you don't know what to do, just do what she does. If you want to know how to be human, just follow her lead. That was weird to me. To me, that was weird.
Most relationships are suffering today because most men are just emotionally unavailable. And it's so sad, because what it's doing is it's preventing us from forming deeper connections with the women we say we love. We're having a conversation. She is expressing herself emotionally, the hurt and pain we've caused her. But because we're not emotionally available, we dismiss how she feels. It causes resentment, and we never change. All because we won't allow ourselves to open up to how she feels. If we want longer lasting, committed, deeper connected, loving relationships, we are going to have to become emotionally available.
One of my clients said something the other day that's very much part of this prevalent pattern that leads so many women in hetero marriages to initiate divorce. He and I were discussing 3 of the common ways that men dismiss their partners when they come to them to initiate a conversation around the desire for greater closeness. One of these ways is to completely shut down in the conversation. So there she is discussing her emotional suffering because of the distance between them, and he says nothing. Now, I could go into a little bit more about what's going on for him in that moment, but I'm not going to do that in this video. The second way is to get defensive, puff up, flip the script, turn around and start blaming and criticizing her. And the third way is to be quite caring in the moment, maybe apologize, maybe promise to do better, say he understands, and yet the moment the conversation is over, it's out of his mind. So there is little to no follow-up behavior. And my client said, oh, I've done all 3 of those many times. So then I asked him to tell me a little bit about what was sometimes going on in his mind when his partner was initiating these conversations. And he said, well, I was often thinking, how are you gonna tell me that I'm inadequate in some way? Are you kidding me? I'm a great fucking guy. Now, I've been coaching him for a little while now, so I think I can vouch for the fact that he is a great fucking guy. And yet, that doesn't mean that he was always a great partner, and he recognizes that now and is very motivated to learn more relational skills. He's also calling out how his male entitlement, the result of growing up a guy in a patriarchal society, negatively affects relationships. Add to that, if you're a guy who shares household and childcare responsibilities with your partner and are a kind man, a nice guy like he is, you've been told your whole life that you're a great guy, right? That you're not like those assholes who are disrespectful to women who are totally self-centered. So you already know you're bringing more to the table. And for many nice guys, I'm not saying all, but for many nice guys, they actually don't think they have more growing to do. And so when their partner is bringing up, conversations about the relationship and asking for further investment, sometimes they become indignant. Think, who are you to ask me for more? Are you kidding me? Like he said, I'm a great guy. My client also told me that he really wishes that he'd had this awareness about 10 years ago because it would have saved him a lot of conflict in relationships. The good news is I am hearing from more and more men that they now recognize some of their blind spots and are very invested in learning how to nourish the relationship with their partner.
So this is probably a very unpopular opinion, or I guess popular with women, unpopular with men. But I feel like men have officially stopped evolving, and I'm going to tell you why. The era of social media and dating and has all proven to women how much we can literally just be on our own and be so happy with other women. And I'm not talking about being in relationships with other women. I literally mean, like, I have had the most deep, meaningful conversations with my girlfriends, like my friends who are women, in the past few days, more so than any man that I've probably ever met. And I was literally like, what is this feeling? Oh my God, like I felt like this like heart expansion, third eye opening, like all these different like very intense feelings. And it's not because I'm in love with my friends, it's because like I love them, but I'm not in love with them. But that's the other thing. I feel so safe telling a woman like, who's my friend, I love you. I like deeply love you. I care for you. You can't say these things to men. Like it always either turns really weird or they want something else out of it. There's just this very palpable feeling like men have stopped evolving. Like they're stunted. They are, what is that called? Arrested development. That's the only way I can describe this feeling. It's like men are in arrested development. Like their development is stunted. Trying to have any sort of a meaningful relationship with a man has literally proven to be a waste of my time. And I'm not gonna lie, there are very few men, literally like 2 men in my life that I can literally like talk for like 3 hours at a time about like ancient Egypt and the universe and God and the Bible and, you know, healthy eating or stuff like that. But other than that, like literally, I feel like men have zero interest in self-development. And when you have literally zero interest in up-leveling yourself, you're boring. Like, literally, men, y'all are boring. Your little nonchalant, playing hard to get bullshit is boring AF. Like, do you guys really think that you're gonna get girls by being boring? Do you really think that we want to sit across from someone who can have no type of intellectual conversation? I'm sure there are women out there who literally could give two shits if you have a conversation with her or not, and they're only there for one thing. But that's what I'm talking about. Like, I feel like women have evolved past the point of caring anymore. Like, all we want is to be heard, to be, like, cared about, to feel genuine human connection, which I literally feel like most men are incapable of doing. The amount of avoidant attachment disorder that I have seen in men is astounding. It's actually alarming. Like, literally, what is gonna happen with the, like, human population? Because I feel like we're getting so sick of y'all. Like, women, this is I feel like this is where we used to be, though. I feel like women used to run everything, okay, matriarchy, back in, like, Atlantis times, because this is what I've always gotten. I've channeled this many times, where we were a whole civilization of just women, and guess what the men did? The men were basically cattle. They worked in the fields, they built the homes, whatever. They used their masculine physical labor as their way of surviving in society. They then were taken from their work to go give their seed, and then the women did the ceremonial stuff with that and, you know, implanted it into the other women to, you know, procreate. But I really seriously feel like there's gonna be a time soon where we're literally no longer gonna need men. I'm sorry, but it's literally, my mom is 62 years old, and she's like, literally, what is wrong with men? She's like, they don't want to talk about emotions. They don't want to talk about anything meaningful or anything worth talking about or listening to. They're like zombies, especially if you're with a guy who's like the typical, I'm just gonna sit here and watch football all day and like reject any conversation that has to do with feelings, emotions, or self-actualization. It's like, what are we alive for? Like, you really think that you're gonna just keep surviving in society being completely avoidant of all human emotion or intellect? This is literally why I couldn't stand being with the father of my kids, because I would literally be like, oh my god, if I go one more day without being able to speak to you and have a meaningful intellectual conversation, I can't do it anymore. It drains your life force energy to never be heard, never have your feelings validated, never feel like you're actually connecting with another human being. And if that other human being is your partner, what are we doing? Like, tell me in the comments if you feel this on every single level, or if you're a man who maybe feels like it's hard for you to like find friends or other guys who like feel the same way you do because you are an intellectual man. Like, I do have a very close friend who he's my TikTok friend, and we've talked about everything under the sun, and he is, I mean, I don't know for sure, but I believe him that he's, you know, staying to himself, staying celibate for the purpose of not sharing his life force energy with another person who's not meaningful to him. I think that's a beautiful thing. I think that more men and women, but more men, need to seriously look at themselves and be like, why do you keep seeking like another conquest? Like, what are you getting out of that? Literally, all that's doing is depleting your own energy, but also you're just like an energy vampire. You're literally just taking from women, just taking their divine feminine essence and doing absolutely nothing with it, like squandering it. I don't know, these are just my thoughts after 2 shots of espresso. And I never drink coffee, and I've had 2 coffees in the past 2 days. But let me know what y'all think, because I seriously feel like everything that's happening right now in the world with like war and destruction and devastation, it's literally because we don't have enough feminine energy. Like, we're not respecting femininity. We're not respecting love. We're not respecting life. There's no respect for life anymore. Like, men are out here making babies, not giving any F's about the fact that they've just created a whole human, not helping mothers. Like, women are doing it all. So what the frick do we need you guys for? Like, think about it. Literally, we're getting to a point soon in society where women are just gonna be like, yeah, we don't want y'all. What's gonna happen to humanity? What's gonna happen to the population? It's a thing. I swear to you. And I know, unpopular, and I don't even know what's happening in the world right now because I have chosen purposely to not look at the news. And I've also, my life is so hectic that I don't have time to like sit and stare at the news and have low vibrations. But I'm slowly like starting to see what's going on, and I'm like, this is literally a crisis of the disrespect of the woman, of the mother. We come from women. Women should be revered. You come from a womb. We should be doing everything possible to make sure that women are safe, protected, cared for, acknowledged. And somehow we just don't, like, society is just like, yeah, who cares? Oh, you birthed a whole human with your own body, and yeah, we don't care. There is more money being put into freaking sports than there is into making sure that women are safely bringing children into this world. Just think about that. The whole premise of continuing our civilization is literally not being cared about. I can't. That's my TED Talk.
Emotionally unavailable men change. Let me flip this question around. Why would you want him to change? If he hasn't seen what he's needed to see, if he's not in a place in his life where he's ready to become more emotionally available, that's on him. So waiting around or trying to get him to change, why? You guys met at a time when you're not in alignment. Maybe that's just the way life is going right now. You can be friends, but outside of that, I wouldn't worry about that. Someone becoming more emotionally available is their own job. That's not for you to take on. So what I would say is just keep moving on. And if something changes before you meet someone else, that's the way it goes. Or not. But don't make this your job to change this about a person. Don't worry about changing a person. That's more ego than love.
Confused about whether or not he's into you? He isn't. These are 5 signs of an emotionally unavailable man that you need to hear. Number 1, he's inconsistent. We are not kids anymore. This isn't about getting somebody to chase you. If one day it feels like he's love bombing you and then the next day he disappears, he's not mysterious, he's unavailable. Number 2, he only has surface level conversations. He can talk for hours about music or the latest TikTok trends or his gym routine, but completely avoids talking about anything real, vulnerable, or future focused. Number 3, he deflects when you express needs. You bring up how you feel and suddenly you're too much or too sensitive or too dramatic, or he's just not ready for a relationship right now. Number 4 is that he's not ready for anything serious, but he still wants your time, your energy, and your body. He'll say he's not ready for a commitment, but he's more than happy to keep you emotionally invested as long as it's benefiting him. And last but certainly not least, you feel anxious, not grounded. If you're constantly overthinking or checking your phone or trying to play detective just so you can decode his mixed signals, that's your nervous system telling you this isn't safe. If you feel like you're stuck in this cycle of attracting these emotionally unavailable men, I want you to DM me the word secure and we can have a conversation about how I can help, because you deserve a relationship that is safe, clear, and secure.
As an attachment specialist, this is the one thing I would focus on if I had an emotionally unavailable partner. The attachment style that is most likely to be emotionally unavailable in their romantic relationships is the dismissive avoidant. Why is that? It's because they had neglect trauma as a child and they don't know that they were emotionally neglected. That's the crazy thing. So they grew up with parents that were like, stop crying, you're fine. Don't worry about that. It's okay. They just had their emotions dismissed over and over again. And when that happens, essentially it forms this subconscious wound of defectiveness. Like, okay, I have these big emotions, but nobody else around me does. I'm being told to stop them, so there must be something wrong with me for having them in the first place. Then they learn to engage in the strategy of emotional suppression, and that follows them into adulthood. Inside of relationships, when it's new and it's, quote, low stakes, they don't get triggered. They essentially are able to give a little bit more. They're usually a lot more transparent, really not vulnerable. It's really more transparency. But they can show up pretty good. They can be affectionate and attuned, etc. And then they start to drop off the map and start pulling back when the relationship becomes more serious. They're very triggered by meeting people's expectations, by emotional vulnerability. They don't handle any of their own emotions, so they certainly cannot handle yours. Wound of defectiveness is insanely painful, and it's tied to so much internalized shame. And how is it activated? Two things: your emotionality and your criticism. And so what I teach my clients is non-critical communication. That is the thing that helps the DA feel most safe to move toward you and to put in more effort into the relationship. So what is non-critical communication? It's essentially you asking for what you would like to see and what you need and what it looks like, instead of focusing on, hey, you did this wrong and I feel XYZ. So you're allowed to discuss your feelings, but I think in the context of bringing up the conversation, if you can keep your tone neutral and you can focus on, hey, you know what, if it makes me feel good and what I would like to see is this, it goes over so much better, and even better if you can add collaboration in, because they have a real wound around feeling controlled. Like if they feel like you're forcing them to do something, they will push back harder and not do it. And so you could say, can we figure out a way to work together on this? Can we collaborate on how to make this happen? If you can add that in at the end, it takes away that feeling like you are taking away their individuality or their consent or their control. And if you want to accuse me of telling people how to, quote, walk on eggshells, what I would say to you is this relationship is optional. It's optional. You don't have to be here. You can break up with this person and be with someone who can meet your emotional needs better. But if you are not willing to face the pain of detachment, or if you're married to this person, you might want strategies that are going to help them meet your needs better, because they are wounded and they are acting to their capacity. And so you can't change somebody or control somebody, but you can change the environment that you create, and sometimes that can be very helpful. For more information about how to navigate insecure attachment styles or becoming secure on your own so that you can be in a healthy and happy relationship, please see me at my website, thelovedoc.com.
Let me help you out. If a man says that he don't have time to text, he don't have time to call, or it's difficult for him to communicate with you, then he really don't want to communicate with you, because a man will find time for who he wants to talk to, who he wants to text, who he wants to FaceTime, who he wants to communicate with. If he's not communicating with you, he's communicating with somebody. Because most of the time, a man is not idle. So sis, he's not interested. Let it go and move on to somebody that will text, will talk, will FaceTime, and will make time for you. It's just that simple. Do you have my book, The Do's and Don'ts of Dating? You can find all this stuff out in there. GregDavisShow.com, Do's and Don'ts of Dating. Move on if he's not communicating. That means he don't want to.
Women are leaving relationships in droves because men are refusing to evolve to become the next level of man. You see, men are still playing this relationship game and this game of life by rules that were established like over 200 years ago. Like, it's no longer enough just to go out and earn the money and then come home and expect everything to be done. You see, with women's liberation, what happened is women were allowed to go out and be their own people, earn their own money, be independent people in their own right. But the thing is, men seem to think that just turning up and earning the money is enough. And it's not anymore. Women are demanding more from men, and men are refusing to evolve. But, you know, that's fine at the end of the day, because if these men don't evolve, women are just going to reject them, and they're going to end up out of the gene pool anyway. So, you know, it's entirely up to men what they do. But the ones that are evolving, the ones that are prepared to step up and step into this new era that's coming of true, intimate, emotional connection between men and women, where we stop fighting with each other and we actually come together as a species and get rid of this controlling patriarchal system that we've been living in so far. You know, it's going to happen. And the future is bright. Like, I fully see a future where we come together and we create a world of safety, of peace, of love and harmony. And the guys that don't want to wake up are going to lose out on it because they're going to be rejected. They're going to be cast out. They're going to be cast aside and they're going to be left. And that's fine, because I know what their response is going to be. Their response is going to be, oh, I don't want a relationship anyway. Go take your ball home. Like, literally go take your ball home and stop playing. Like, we don't want you in the game anyway. You're just a loser.
So, ladies, in the end, I know that we all have experienced one or more emotionally unavailable men in our lifetimes. If you're 30 or in your late 20s or even in your late teens and you're listening to this video, I know y'all have experienced some of what these people have mentioned and talked about. Ladies, I just pray that y'all are sharing these videos and that y'all are learning and that y'all are listening and learning from the mistakes of these women. Even if y'all haven't experienced it, I hope y'all are protecting your peace and just working on yourselves and trying to do better than the women that came before you. Yeah, we're trying to get our weight right, trying to get our cortisone, not our cortisone, but our cortisol down. If y'all don't know what that is, when you're stressed out, you know, and you're trying to get rid of some of that excess fat and weight, if you're holding on to stress, you can't get rid of it if your cortisol levels are high. And this will do it. If you're dealing with these types of men in your relationship, you will be stressed out, and this is one reason why. It'll drive up your cortisol levels and you won't be able to lose weight. It'll stress you out so bad that no matter what you do, diet, exercise, no matter what you do, if it seems like you cannot lose that last 20 pounds, that last 15 pounds, no matter what you do, it's like you're starving yourself. You're taking weight loss pills, you're eating healthy, and it's like you cannot lose that last bit of weight around your stomach or your arm area. And you have a man that is just stressing you out. You can't sleep, all of that, and you just can't get rid of this last little bit of weight. And you're like, what the hell is wrong with me? It's the man. It's the man. He has you stressed out where you cannot lose that weight. You're trying to deal with his emotions, and he doesn't even know how to deal with his emotions. That's what it is, ladies. Once you get rid of him and you start figuring out how to stabilize yourself, you'll be fine, and that weight will fall off. Try ashwagandha tea. Try meditation. Try breathing exercises. It's so many things to help you get your cortisol levels down, ladies. But share this video, get in the comments, like, share, and subscribe. And I will talk to you ladies later. Bye.
For me, break, for me, break that body for me, what?